thank you guys for coming. Thanks for spending an hour with us at TC. I know how busy it is and all the other things that you could be doing, and we really appreciate it. We'll spend an hour today, and then we'll talk about Tableau Mobile, and then we'll go see some wizards do their Iron Viz thing afterwards. So let's do it, Scott. Let's talk about Tableau Mobile for an hour here.
Sounds good, Jim.
The main thing that we want to do today is we want to show you a demo of the new version of Tableau Mobile and just show you what it is and how it works. You saw a glimpse of it today on Devs on Stage. Our teammate Alex Furton showed it briefly. But we're going to do a much deeper dive here today. And it's so important now. I made it a whole different color. So that's how you know it's super important. And before we do that, we'll just tell a little bit about sort of where we are, what the current situation is with Tableau Mobile, and kind of how we got here. And then we'll go into the demo.
Yeah, just a quick show of hands. How many of you were able to catch the Devs on Stage this morning? Awesome, awesome. So most of you saw the new Tableau Mobile app, so we don't have to make a big fuss about introducing it here, which is great.
We're going to make a big fuss about it, Scott.
We are. So after the demo, after we show the demo, we're going to talk about how we use Tableau internally in our team. So I felt that might be kind of interesting for you guys to see that. And then finally, how you guys can help us. How you can help us give us feedback, try the app out, and we really, really appreciate it if you guys, we'll show you how we listen to your feedback and we can make our product better.
Great. All right. So I've been waiting like all week to do this, so let's do it. Let's get in there and start this thing.
Yeah, I gave it away, but we probably should introduce ourselves.
All right.
Who are these jokers up here? So,
I'm Jim. That's me with my son Nicholas a couple of years ago. Halloween's a big deal in my household and in this whole city. So here we are at Halloween. Happy Halloween. I'm a product manager at Tableau. I've been there for about a year, and I'm the product manager for Tableau Mobile. So it's been a great year for me to come up to speed and to work on this project, and can't wait to show it to you today.
Yep, and I'm Scott Haney. I'm an engineering manager in Tableau Mobile, and I work alongside Jim and a team of really talented engineers to build the Tableau Mobile application. I've been at Tableau for a little bit more than 3 years. I've been kind of in the mobile space for a little while. I was in Amazon and working on the wildly successful Fire Phone project. This is me with my son, Nolan. He's 6 years old. I have a daughter, Maya, as well. My wife is actually in the back corner. She's an attendee this year. She's a customer of Tableau. And I told her to go in the corner because I couldn't handle it being in the front. So, yeah, exactly. Just wanted to note, this was last Halloween. After this picture was taken, it was all downhill from there. Like, he didn't want to be a Hulk anymore. And we were going to be tandem Hulks. It was going to be so cool. We set it up perfectly, and then he just totally melted down, didn't want to do it. So I was left as like the solo Hulk that night. So yeah, so pictures can be kind of deceiving. It wasn't that exciting. So yeah, anyway.
All right, so now it is time for us to talk about Tableau Mobile. But thank you for coming and welcome to the session. So what you're seeing up here is the Tableau Mobile that's in the App Store today on iOS and Android, running here on both phones and tablets. And this existing version has been out for about 3 years. Prior to that, and even today for that matter, you can get to Tableau from your mobile device with the browser. Just launch Safari or Chrome, whatever, and you can log in and use Tableau, but it's not great. It's hard to log in, and just the whole design and the sort of the browser experience, of the server experience, is designed for a much bigger screen. It's just really difficult. And people want to be able to get their data wherever they are and whatever device they have. And so really it was demand from customers that said, we need a mobile app, and so we have it. And it's interesting to see what's happened to it in the 3 years that it's been out there.
Yeah, so let's take a look at how it's doing with a little Tableau. So we actually are seeing tremendous growth in Tableau mobile users. Over the past 2 years, we've seen a 400% increase in weekly active users. That's mean they've at least signed in once for that week. We're just seeing a lot more customers these days ready for mobile. They're ready to take that next step. And it's really great to see. And we're seeing growth across Android and iOS, which is great to see. We're also seeing growth across the globe. We're seeing usage across the globe. This is a dashboard on color based on usage. So clearly the US is still #1 as far as usage goes for mobile. But we're still seeing, we're beginning to see growth across. But the interesting thing is, this is just usage. But if we look at growth rate as a percentage per country, we actually see a much different, we're actually seeing a tremendous growth rate internationally. And so it's actually outpacing the growth in the US. So that's great to see. Total 54 countries with at least 100 active users. And finally, we're seeing Android and iOS both growing as platforms, and we're committed to making sure that the features that we build on iOS are also available on Android. Now today, our Android app doesn't have all the features that the iOS app has, and we realize that, but we're committed to make them first-class citizens going forward.
Right. One of the things that the people have in all these countries, and whether they're on iOS or Android, is, like all of you, they're not shy about giving us feedback and telling us what we could do better, where we're missing features or where things are confusing. And so, you know, maybe you're aware of, probably you guys are aware of our Community Ideas Forum. And that's a place where we get feedback. And also I go out and talk to customers all the time who are interested in mobile, where interested is in a code word for they want to tell me what's wrong with it. And so I go and listen. And you know, there's too much up here to read, but there are themes that emerge. And so what we try to do is we look at the product, we look at its usage, and we look at this feedback. We try to figure out what are we hearing, and how do we coalesce those themes into the actual investments that we want to make moving forward with the product. So the first one of those is really around just the user experience. A lot of the feedback you saw a minute ago was about projects and searching and browsing and just the whole notion that the app could be faster, more modern looking. All of it adds up to, it just should be more pleasant experience to use it and a more effective experience to use it. So that's our sort of job one, our top mission in the work that we've done to redo the app this time.
Yep. And another theme we've been hearing is that you're not always connected to your server. Now, you're mobile, you're on the go, right? So sometimes you're in a plane, you're on a train, wherever it may be, or maybe you just don't have VPN set up on your phone. I mean, there could be a number of reasons why you can't connect to the server from your phone. So we want to make sure that you always have access to your most important data, whether you're connected or not. That's a big key theme for this year, too.
The next one's kind of a newer one. People are telling me, when I visit them, that they have dashboards whose primary purpose is to serve as sort of a table of contents to link users to other dashboards. And they might be in different workbooks or even different projects. But the whole sales team gets a dashboard and uses it to link out elsewhere. And today in the mobile app, we read those URL actions, that's how you do these kind of links, as URLs. And we say, oh, we know what to do with the URL. We send it to the browser. And that feels very broken. So it's important for us to enable direct linking within the app so that this kind of navigation is now seamless. And that's been a high priority for us.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times customers have asked for this. They're like, I have this table of contents, and how come it doesn't stay inside the app? So we're going to show you how the new app improves that. Enterprise level security. Now, this is so exciting, but so important. It really is step one for us. At mobile, it's a very high priority because we realize how much of a risk it is for companies to make their data available on a mobile device. So we want to make sure you can access your data securely and using the configuration that your IT department has set up for you.
Right. So. And I'll just mention one more. Today, this morning on Devs on Stage, Alex showed how as you design the dashboard, the Tableau will automatically create a mobile layout. And this idea that mobile optimized content is super important. If you take a big dashboard and shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp, look at it on a phone. I mean, all the work that we've done to build the app doesn't matter. So this mobile optimized content is important. So much so that there's a separate team working on it, and there were a couple of talks here at TC about this. Sadly, they were in the past. but you can view them later, and we'll provide links to that so you can go deep on this later. It's super important, and it just changes the experience. And when we demo today, the dashboards that we show you will have been through this algorithm, and the mobile optimized layouts that we show you are those that are created by this new tool.
Cool. All right, so these are the things that we want to invest in. Now we're going to show you what we did about it. So what we did about it is we've completely redesigned and re-architected the Tableau mobile application this year. We've been working on this for the past year and a half, and we're really, really excited to show this. I know there's an excited thing, everybody's excited, but I'm really excited to show you this because I really am. This is what I've been waiting for the past year. And we're going to call it Tableau Mobile.
Shout out to our marketing team, Tableau Mobile.
We are clearly not in the marketing team. But it's new and improved. So yeah, we're really excited about this. And,
and now it's time for us to really show it.
Okay. Let's
So
go on to the demo.
What we're going to do is a little bit crazy, actually. Anyone who's ever done a demo before would advise against this particular trick we're going to try to pull off.
Okay.
All right. So what we're seeing is two phones. They're both connected to a Tableau server back home.
Using long cables.
Using long cables. Scott's over on the left with an iPhone.
Oh, yeah, here I am.
That's Scott.
Yeah.
And he has the existing store version, the version that's in the store today. And then I'm over here on the right with an Android phone, and I'll be showing the new version. So hopefully, we'll pull this off, and we'll be able to show these two things side by side. I think it's really interesting to see them side by side to give you a sense of how we looked at that feedback and sort of how we reacted to it. So I hope you agree. Let's give it a shot.
Awesome. All right, so show of hands, how many people have used Tableau Mobile? Okay, so a few of you haven't.
It's pretty good.
Good. So I'm gonna launch the existing Tableau Mobile app, and then we're gonna do a comparison side by side to see how it's changed in the new app. So I'm gonna open up Tableau Mobile. I'm gonna tap that icon. And today, the first screen you see is a list of your favorites. And you can see that favorites is highlighted down here because there's 3 tabs, and one selected is currently favorites. These are vises that you access frequently, you want quick access to. And we just kind of want to make sure that this is the first thing that you see. So if you just wanted to see that dashboard you see every day, you can just click on it. So that's step 1. So
all right.
Let's take a look.
So here it is, guys. This is the new Tableau Mobile. I'm going to launch it now, and boom, Tableau Mobile. The thing.
We forgot the drum roll, man.
Or I could have done what Alex did today.
Yeah, that was good.
It doesn't really work as well if an old dude does it. So we're still going to open to favorites, right? Because nothing has changed in that regard. You've told us that these are the most important things, and for a lot of people, the dozen or half a dozen or however many number of favorites is really where they live in the app. So here we are. But we're just using the screen a lot differently. Rather than show just one favorite and maybe the beginning of a second one, we've made these small thumbnails so that you can see them at a glance. And you can see, and really, all that detail information people weren't really getting much from it. They just want to be able to identify which one is it, what's it called, and then let me go to it. So now you can see more. But not only that, in the past, these were organized very, very carefully using the alphabet. So we had alphabetical order. And now, as you add favorites, they push down from the top. So the newest favorites that I've created will be at the top, and ones that I might have created last year will be pushed down the list. So when I create one, and I come to the app, it's clearly there. I understand that favorite action has succeeded, and it's right there in front of me.
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how we can explore things that are not favorites. So the current app has 2 other tabs down there, Recents and All. So if I go to Recents, that shows me all the things that I've viewed recently. So these could either be vises that I viewed on mobile, or they can be vises that I viewed on a browser on my desktop. So that's kind of nice. I have that handy. I can see that in order of recency, most recently accessed at the top. I can also go to all, and that basically shows a flat list whenever the server decides to show me that flat list. Great, awesome. That's a live server, by the way. So it's a flat list of all of the workbooks and all of the views on the server in alphabetical order. Now, as you can imagine, if you have a server with a lot of content, that could be really, really tough to scroll through and find stuff. So we really think we can make this better in the new app.
Right, the list Scott's showing here has workbooks and individual views or dashboards all intermingled in the same list. So let's see what we did in the new app. Down at the bottom, I'm going to move from favorites to the Explorer tab. So I'll tap that on the right. And now what you see is, well, once again, we do like the concept of recents. We've made them a nice, easy, scrollable, horizontal scrollable region at the top. I can see that I have 27 recents, so if I want to, I can tap that number 27 and see a full list that's dedicated to my recents in much the same way that the favorite screen looks. But a lot of times, those most recent things are easily acceptable here from the top of the Explore screen. But the main new thing is this. We've organized the mobile experience the way that the server itself organizes content, which is to say by projects. At the top level of a Tableau server, all there are projects, and then all the other content is inside those projects. So here we show the list of projects on this particular server. There are 37 of them, and here they are. So I can go down here and just pick one of these, and now I've opened a view that's dedicated to projects and the structure of projects. So this is sort of a major thing that people have asked for, and a lot of what we think makes the new app way more sort of browsable than its predecessor. At a glance, I can see that there are sub-projects. There are 18 sub-projects in this case. And then at the top level, there are 46 workbooks containing over 200 views. So now I can expand any of those by tapping the little number. But at a glance, I understand what's going on in that project, including sub-projects, which is a thing that just was introduced by Tableau about a year ago. So let me look at the projects list. Here they all are. I'll go into mobile. It's not strictly a coincidence that I'm going into mobile. That's the project that we use all the time. In fact, you can see Scott's name up there as the owner of this project. And here again, I can see the number of sub-projects, workbooks, and views. And it's easy for me to do things like say, well, what are the workbooks that are in the mobile project? Tap on that number 23. And now I'm looking at the full list of workbooks in the mobile project. So I've gone from the top of the server into a project, into a sub-project, into the workbook list. And what this gives me is this just general sense of understanding how the server is structured and how data is organized on the server. So this is a legitimate, we hope that you agree, browsing experience for people that want to try and understand what's out there and what might be interesting or relevant to them.
Cool. So we have a list of workbooks in a specific project. Sounds like a useful view. You guys want to see how I could get to that view with the current app? I could skip it. It'd be easier. All right, I'm gonna bear with me here. So it's a little bit more confusing. So like I said, we have this long list of everything on the server. So I kind of need to filter it out. So if you think about everything on the server as a long list, I need to filter it out to the things that are in a particular project. So I need to add a filter. I'm going to add a filter on a project. And now I'm going to see a long list of all the projects on my server. And I'm going to actually search for the mobile project here. I'm going to tap on that. Now that shows me now all the content in the mobile project. But it also includes single sheets as well as workbooks. So I need to filter out those single sheets as well. So I'm going to add another filter. Go to filter here. And I'm going to filter on format, workbooks only. All right, I got to it. A little bit more convoluted. Didn't feel like it was that intuitive. We got feedback. But now we're going to go back and see how our app usage analytics showed us that this wasn't serving the needs of customers.
Yeah, let's take a look at that, Scott.
PowerPoint. All right. Okay. No more demo. But I'll get back to it. We'll get back to it.
We're not done demoing it.
All right. So I'm going to look at this navigation filters feature in the current app. Now, we wanted to ask two questions, two key questions. How many users use it? Obvious one. And then when people use it, what do they use it for? What are they filtering on? We found out that only 1.2% of users actually use filters. They actually set a filter over the course of a given month. So very few people use this feature. And when they do, almost 70% filter on project. It tells us that they really just want to get back to their projects. That's what they're trying to do there.
Right. And that agrees with the feedback that we get when people talk to us. So I had this slide before. In a second, we'll color the ones that are related to this. All about projects, 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 projects. Project levels seems missing is one of those. And yeah, it was missing. So we had a combination of sort of quantitative and qualitative evidence to suggest that what we had wasn't working for people. And that really drove our decision to change the browsing and navigation experience in the new app.
Yep.
All right, we told them we would demo, Scott.
More demo. All right. You still see it? Still up there? Okay, good. All right. So next thing is searching. So sometimes you know the title of the thing, of the viz you want to find. So you want to look for it by searching. So let's look at how you would do that in the current app. So I'm going to go on the search bar here. And for this purpose, I'm going to try to find a workbook that Jim published on bike sharing in Chicago. It's a sample workbook. It's not our actual data. But it gives you a sense of what this feature is like. So I'm going to search for bike, because I know bike is in the title. But I got no results. Anybody know why I got no results?
Filters are wrong?
Filters. Good. It's actually filtering still on the search results. So I had to clear those filters. Even though those filters were from a previous navigation, they're still there. So I got to clear them out. Now I'm going to get results. I'm going to get results on everything that matches the word bike. Great. But I only want to look at workbooks. So let me go back and add that format filter again. Workbooks only. OK. And now I can see Divi Bike Share Mobile. Jim Cox. That's the one I wanted. So let's see how you can do that in the new app.
Yeah, we think we could do better. So search bar is at the top of the Explorer experience, the Explorer screen. I'll tap on it, and I should just have to enter a couple of characters here to get results. Let's see what happens there. OK. So now we brought back results. And the main thing about this is that we structured the results in the same way that we structured the browsing experience, which is the same way that we hope that you experience content in Tableau. Are there any projects that contain this search term? Are there any workbooks? Are there any views? So this structured search result gives you a general sense of like, how popular is this thing? If there were 400 workbooks and 2,000 views, you'd be like, okay, I better refine my search a little bit more. But here, it's a limited number. And in fact, right at the top, I can see that bike share. Now it's at the top of my list because once again, we've radically strayed away from alphabetical order. And instead, we're using the order of popularity. How often are these vizzes accessed? And I would venture to guess that Scott and I, preparing this talk and rehearsing it a few times, may be responsible for that one being at the top of the list.
Yeah, bike sharing was not at the top. But
there's not a lot of organic interest in Chicago-based bike sharing in our Seattle office.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we've seen how to find content on your server. We've seen how we've improved that. Let's look at actually viewing content and actually interacting with content, how we've made that a little bit better as well. So I'm going to tap on that bike share workbook. And that's going to load a viz. So I tapped on a workbook, but I got a viz. What did it load? It loaded the first view in that workbook. Automatically, it does that for you. So this is a viz, interactive. I can select marks on the map. It has 3 zones on it. It has some filters, things like that. At the top, I see this row of tabs. That tabs is really small, so I actually have to, pinch and zoom to see it. And then to use it, I'm going to tap on that second dashboard. I'm going to tap on it. Now I got to zoom back out to see it. All right, so a little bit hard to use. We kind of knew that it was hard to use, so we actually added, in the current app, we added a sheet selector button on the top right. It gives you access to the same things. I can quickly tap on those views to see the different views in the workbook there. But we think we can improve this.
Yeah, I mean, the main job of Tableau Mobile after you find the things that you want is to actually show you those things. In this case, I'll open the same workbook, and now what we've opened, instead of just deciding that you want to go to the first dashboard here, we're showing you the contents of this workbook. This is the new workbook page. You can see everything and decide what you want to go to. So that's convenient. And I'll go to the same one that Scott did. I'll start up here in the upper left, and we'll launch this. And we're keeping our fingers crossed every time we call the server, and it worked. It's awesome. But this looks very similar to what it did before. This is the dashboard that you would expect to see. Again, all those zones are here, and it's fully interactive. But what you'll notice is that at the top, those tabs are gone. That buys us a little more space to show content, and on a phone, even those dozen or 15 pixels or whatever, it improves the viewing experience. But more to the point, you don't have to zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, tap, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. When I talked to people, they would actually like pantomime the action when they talked to me about it, because it was, they just didn't feel it was a very effective way of navigating. Now, we've maintained this sheet selector in the top. It's probably a little bit too small for you to see where you're sitting, but there's a little badge on it that says 5, and that's a visual indicator of how many sheets are in this workbook. And when I tap on it, I get a sheet selector menu that's similar to the one that we had before, only even this is a little bit easier to use because the title of the workbook is presented up above, and then there are small thumbnails which provide some visual indication of what's happening when I do this. So I can tap into one of these from the sheet selector, and it will open with a server error, but it opened. Let's do this again. Scott, what are we thinking? Alternatively, I can go out to the workbook screen and come back in, and my server is unhappy. But at least it loaded. So I have this alternative, right? I can use the sheet selector, or I can go out to the workbook view and navigate back in. But either way, we're making it less of a mystery in terms of what are the contents of the workbook and how do I navigate among those. And then when you get to any one specific thing, we're trying to make it more clear by eliminating the clutter of those tabs across the top. Besides that, this is the presentation that you would expect, that which you designed for the mobile view, for a mobile specific view, and it looks about the same as it did before. But again, with these navigational difficult improvements that we hope that you will agree are improvements.
Cool. So, so all of this goes to a little bit of a more delightful experience. If you remember those investment areas that we listed out, delightful experience was number 1. The second one was making sure that you had access to your data even when you're offline. So we're going to show how the current app supports an offline scenario, or a disconnected scenario. And then we're going to show what we did in the new app. So currently, offline functionality is available for the vizzes that you have favorited. So if I look at this, what the current app does is it downloads an image, a static image, of that viz for all of your favorites. And it keeps that image, and the image is accessible whether you're connected or not. So for the purposes of this example, I'm actually going to go down to a viz that was shown at Devs on Stage. This was the climbing routes in Eastern Washington, if you remember Alex showing that this morning. I'm going to tap into that. And what I'm presenting with is, here's the image, snapshot image. I can kind of see, if you guys can read that it was updated yesterday at 3 a.m. I can pinch and zoom to see it more clearly. But I can't do much else. I can't scroll this zone here. I can't tap on any of the marks for sure. I can't pan the map. all I can do is, it's just a static image. So let's see what we've done in the new app.
Right, okay. Well, once again, we'll start on favorites. You've told us these are the most important things to you. So we're taking that cue to say, well, let's make these available to you even if you're not connected to the server. So when the app connects, when you launch the app, and it does find a connection, one by one it goes through and downloads, not an image this time, but a copy of the viz. And so you can get what we call an interactive preview. And I'm going to do that again from the same viz. And again, it's the top of my favorites, not way down with the V's, because I just favorited this one recently. So here it is. And I'm looking at what we now call, you can see at the bottom of the screen here, an interactive preview. Now, compared to the snapshot that we showed before, the first thing you'll notice is that it's big and it fills the screen. It's just a little bit easier to read and use. But on closer inspection, it's actually more than that. Now, these zones are able to scroll independently. I can get highlighting action on things like maybe even a legend might have a highlight action on it. And you can see it highlighted down into both zones below. I can tap on a specific mark and get a tooltip. So, always I can zoom in and see the thing up more closely, and I can even do multi-select on marks. There they are. And so some highlighting action took place related to that multi-selection. So it's a really very different experience. Now, I have not called the server yet, right? And so if I need to go live, for example, let me show you this filter up here where it says difficulty. That doesn't work because that does require a server connection. And at that point, I tap go live down here at the bottom. I call the server with all of its inherent risk during a live demo. And there it is. So now I have the same thing, but I can see that things like filtering does work. And so that's the full experience when you're connected. But I want to go back and try this again. Here I'm looking at my favorites, and I tap one of them, and it loaded fast. No server call at all. So even if I am connected, often this is enough. I can see what I need. I can find information that's detailed. So we think, and what our existing users have told us, our test users, is that there's a time saving associated with these interactive previews. And the fact that they're available offline is tremendously important, but it's not everything. The performance improvement of being able to get to these things so quickly is another benefit. So we think that we're trying to give you fast access to those things that are the most important to you and make them available to you offline. Understanding that there are a few restrictions where we do have to call the server, but hoping that for a lot of cases, this fast access and interactive preview capability is really meaningful and makes the mobile device far more useful to you in circumstances like you're on a plane or you're visiting a customer and you're not able to get on their Wi-Fi or whatever than it otherwise would be. When I look at these previews compared to their predecessor, just the presentation is clearly superior. So one of the things, and this is I think one of the biggest changes that we've made to the app in terms of how it functions. And so when we tell you in a few minutes how to get the beta, and then when you immediately go and actually get the beta, this is one of the things that I hope that you'll look at and give us feedback on right away.
Definitely. And just a note, the interactive preview feature is available for servers starting 18.2. Starting in 18.2 and above, as well as Tableau Online.
Right, now if you have an older server and you connect to it, we will request interactive preview. The server will say, I don't know what that is, but it'll give you the image. So you will get, and down below it'll be called an image preview. So you'll have something, it'll be similar to what you had before, it'll stretch out and look a little nicer on the screen. But that interactivity comes with the server 18.2 or more, or with Tableau Online.
Cool. Another thing we want to show you is how you link from one dashboard to another dashboard that is in a different workbook or even in a different project. Now, how many of you have a scenario where you have a table of contents dashboard that links to other things, other dashboards? It's a fairly common case. And so I want to show you how painful that is in the current app. And then we're going to show you how painless it is in the new app. So I'm gonna do one of those. I actually have a dashboard for my team. It's called the Mobile Developer Dashboard. I'm going to tap on it, and that gives me the snapshot image. And I have 3 dashboards here that I'm going to link out to. Those are on different workbooks on the same server. I have URL actions associated with those to bring you to those different dashboards. Now, if I tap on one of those, what am I going to get? Well, first off, I'm going to get the live view of that
Oh, because you just tapped on the snapshot.
Yeah. So now I'm going to get the live view of the table of contents. So a little bit, not exactly what you expect. And now I'm going to try to tap on one of those dashboards. Now, what happened? I saw a lot of URLs redirecting up there. I'm in the browser right now. It launched the browser. It treats all URLs as browser URLs. So whether you go to google.com or another worksheet or another workbook on your server, it treats them the same. So as you can see, I got prompted to log in again because I got logged out of my browser. So it's kind of indeterminate what's going to happen. It's just going to, just bring you to the browser, and now I got to sign in again. I got this open in Tableau Mobile thing, and I was just in Tableau Mobile. So a little painful. Let's look at how Jim did it in the new app.
The URL is enough for us to know, if we're smart and we parse it, that this is an action that should stay within the app. I'm going to load the same dashboard, and it's a favorite, so I'm getting that interactive preview again. Now, let's see what happens if I use this tool to invoke the URL action that's hiding behind each of these thumbnails. So the first one opens. Oh, you know what? So 2 things happen here. One is it stayed within the app. It stayed within the app like it's supposed to. But the other thing is that the thing that I've linked to is another one of my favorites. And so it did this from an interactive preview to an interactive preview because, again, they're just favorites. And the first thing we show you when you load a favorite is that interactive preview. So now I was able to actually do this without ever touching the server. On the other hand, I happen to know the third one is not stored as a favorite. So when I tap that, we're going to call the server. Come on, server. Come on, server. It's thinking about it. And there it is. And so now this dashboard loaded, but the most important thing is that it did so within the flow of the app, within the app itself, in the way that you would expect. I mean, I'm super enthusiastic about this feature. On the one hand, it just seems like a bug fix, right? But on the other hand, it matters so much. It turns an increasingly common and quite broken experience into a great, seamless Tableau experience. So we're really happy that we were able to get this done. And I think it's going to be one of the things that really changes the sort of game changer for people who are creating content on behalf of mobile Salesforce or mobile workers in some other scenario, where they can build these simple dashboards and help those users find what they need really easily.
Jim, I'm just disappointed that test results is not a favorite for you. You don't want to look at test results, but I do.
I like test results, but they're just not a favorite of mine. They're like it's like an oatmeal raisin cookie.
Right.
It's like, all right, I'll have one, but chocolate chip cookie is my favorite. So I mean, I guess whatever, to each his own.
All right, so that concludes the demo portion of our talk. And now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the other things.
Yeah, while we switch back, I have to say, Scott, at this moment, we had 2 different phones, both tethered to the laptop, with 2 different pieces of software reflecting the screens, relying on Wi-Fi at a conference, talking to pre-release server builds, and running beta versions of Tableau Mobile.
What's wrong with that?
That is just stupid, is what it is. But I can't believe, yeah.
Pretty much what our bosses told us.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about security, just for a little bit, though. This is step 1, like we said. We need all of those features that we just showed you are no good. No good if you can't log in, if you don't have access to your server. So we really take this seriously. There are a lot of different environments that we support. I'm not going to go through every single one on this list. But if there's something that your organization, your company needs that's not on this list, you guys have to let us know, because we're going to make sure that this is not a hurdle and not an obstacle for you. We have a dedicated team now in mobile just to handle enterprise concerns like authentication and deployment, MDM providers, things like that. So it's really important. There is a talk about this that gets into much more detail. It's a deploy and enjoy talk. And one of the speakers of that talk is right here, Sham. He's on our team. So definitely check out that talk if this is something that interests you, because it really gets into a lot of details about this and really some great information.
Yeah, and there's one piece of enterprise related feature that we can go ahead and look at this, and that is biometrics, the ability to use either Face ID or Touch ID or the Android equivalent to get in. And what's different now is that we make use of these long-lived OAuth tokens when we authenticate to a server. The desktop has been doing this for a while. The web connection has been doing this for a while. What this means is that when you authenticate to the server, you get a token, and the token has a life of maybe like 2 weeks. If you come back within 2 weeks, you don't have to log in again. And the token gets refreshed, so you get another 2 weeks. So people that use the app frequently after they initially log into the server, they basically never have to log in again. And the first time we put this out in an alpha form to just a few customers 6 months ago or 4 months ago or however long ago it was, a bunch of them said, I don't know what you did, but it's awesome because I never have to log in. This is the greatest. And then a few security people, like IT types, said, I don't know what you did, but geez, now my people never have to log in. So what's the way to create a balance between the security concerns of that IT guy? I mean, after all, it is just all your corporate data that's out there. And the ease and convenience of users. Because if you have to log in every day, your users are going to not do it. They're just not going to use the app. It's just too much friction. So the biometrics to the rescue. We've implemented biometrics so that after you initially fully log in, then after that, the app will ask you to authenticate with biometrics until the token expires. If you go away for a week and come back, you probably have to log in again. So we hope that this is striking the right balance between that user convenience and ease and the security concerns of your IT guys and all the compliance requirements that you have. But if not, it's controllable by the server admin. You can decide to use it or not use it. But we think it's pretty interesting, and it's not going to be in the beta that you get today, but we're adding it in the next couple of weeks. We've been playing with it with pretty good success for a little while now. So hopefully this will be something that is a game changer in terms of the friction of using mobile, even just getting to the app for your user community.
Now we're going to talk a little bit about how my team, our team, builds this product, and basically who makes this thing. So it's 13 engineers, 1 designer, 2 overheads. That's us. We release every 2 weeks in beta. We're pretty diligent about releasing on a frequent basis. And we release both to iOS and Android, always. We always release to both. We never release to one or the other. And we monitor the feedback that we're getting from our beta program on a daily basis. And we also look at the analytics that we're collecting. So I'm going to show you a few of the dashboards that we've created in Tableau to help us, build a better product, but also, operate more efficiently as a team. And surprise, use Tableau. So here you go. So here's an example of the bugs that we have over time. For those of you who do not know what a bug is, it's like our life. It's basically problems or issues in the app that we need to fix. So a really important thing is that we stay on top of those and not let those get out of hand. So looking at how many bugs we have open at a given time is really useful. We also see how many bugs are getting reported to us. These are actionable bugs that we need to fix. So this is really important for us going forward. We also look at how long does it take us to fix it. Once it gets reported, do we actually fix the thing, and how long? So about 23 days we can get a fix out for a bug, which is pretty good. We also can see how our team is operating. How many work items do we complete in a given week? So that's kind of nice. We do 33 items every sprint, which is 2 weeks. We also look at how our app is performing in the wild. So we see viz load times. How long does it take to load the viz? This is really important to us. We look at this really closely. So the top is actually over time, how long it takes to load the viz, both on Android and iOS. And the bottom is a distribution of that viz based on seconds. We look at our crash rates over time. How often is our app crashing? We don't want it to crash, but yes, it happens. And the key is to make our crash rate low. And so we can see it over time, or we can see it per build.
Right. And the thing that's interesting about having people like you actually using our app and giving us those metrics and all is that you can also give us direct feedback. Some of those bugs that we talked about a minute ago are ones that we found internally. But some of them are ones that you found and that our external test audience has found and communicated to us about. And you can do that directly in the app. Now, it wasn't in our demo because it wasn't really useful to show for demo purposes. But when the beta app shows up, have that little button that's peeking out at the lower right of the screen. When you tap that, it opens an interface that's a third-party utility that we've incorporated called Intercom. And from Intercom, you can just send us a message. You can send us a screenshot. We just got a message with the screenshot in it about 2 minutes before this talk started. And after we're done, we'll answer that. So it just makes it super easy for you. If you see something's weird, or if you have a problem, then let us know. And if you find something that you think is awesome, there's no law against letting us know about that either. And then also, there's my little face down there at the bottom. We can use this tool to send messages to you, to the user community. So typically, every 2 weeks, we'll do a new beta build. There'll be something that's new or different. Some features come in. We've improved something or we've corrected a bug. And we'd like to take a minute and just sort of share with you what that is and maybe encourage you, please test this or take a look at this. And that's a way for us having a conversation about the app and for you to understand what's changing and for us to sort of work together to improve the quality and stability as we move forward. So we've had this out in the market for a little while with our test audience. And as you would expect, we've been getting a lot of feedback. So there's sort of, I'm not going to read this, but there are themes that emerge as you would expect. And one of them, the first set is people like the project stuff, as you would expect. I mean, a lot of the feedback that we had earlier was, I need this sort of structure and this improved experience with being able to navigate the server. And so we get feedback that says, yes, that's working. We've had really positive reviews on that so far. Sometimes people tell us, I need a feature, and it's a feature that's planned by us. We just haven't gotten to it yet. So these requests don't tend to change our plans very much, but they do affect our priorities. For example, for a while, we didn't have site switching. We just hadn't implemented it yet. And people were like, where's site switching? And so that we actually prioritized that differently and got that done because the user community, we were like, oh, we didn't realize that was as important as it was. And so we did that work. There are a few places where we will get information or feedback that gives us a new idea. One of the first ones that we got was, it was really easy to sign out accidentally. And so people were like, please, because the penalty is you have to log back in, and that's no good. So one of the first things we did was we added a "Are you sure?" dialogue on the sign out. And I will say that our team, that's been popular among our team because how many times do we have to sign in? But another one is like, we had the workbook screen I showed you that shows you all the sheets in the workbook. And then from there, you pick the one that you want to go. A lot of people said, hey, I only have one sheet in my workbook. It's just the dashboard. Everything else I don't publish. Why do you make me stop and look at one thing, and all I can do is tap that one thing? So we implemented a change that says, okay, if there's just one, we'll bypass that workbook screen and take you directly into that dashboard. So these are the kind of things where we try to listen and react to feedback, and it's really useful for us to have your eyes on the product and helping us see these types of things. And then lastly, and this is sort of inevitable, we do get some contradictory feedback. I love the workbook screen. I can see everything. It's fantastic. I hate the workbook screen. Just take me to the first one. What are you guys doing? There's so much here to look at. And so there are a few areas where there are votes coming in on both sides. And this is all the more reason why we want to have a beta program with a lot of people using it to help us sort of sort these things out and get a bigger sample size so that we understand this experience or this set of experiences and whether they really make sense and are working for you or for the users that you represent back home.
Yeah, so this beta app is actually available today. It's open to anybody with the link. On Android, you can actually search for Tableau Beta on the Play Store and find it. But
just real quick, if you search for Tableau,
yeah,
it doesn't show up. If you search for Tableau Beta, it does show up. I don't know. But you have to search Tableau Beta on Android.
So please download it today. Send us your feedback. We're gonna be iterating and iterating. We have a few more features we need to ship before we can ship this. So it really depends on your feedback right now. And you need to help us give you the app that you need. So, and here's how to get it. We have a couple of links here for iOS and Android. We have QR codes that you can scan. We have some cards that you can come up later after the talk, and you can just bring home with you and just scan it whenever it's most convenient for you.
Sure.
And these are some related sessions for mobile. These are all in the past. I'm sorry about that. But if you're interested in any of these areas and did not get a chance to see them, I highly recommend you see them. We actually have several of the speakers from these sessions here with us in this room right now. So definitely take a look at these when you get a chance. And you would be great if you could fill out the session survey. That's what everybody tells you to do, so we have to tell you
We have
as
to
well.
tell you.
So
Contractually
it would be
obligated.
great. We really do use that to influence what we focus on for next year. So.
Right. And one thing I'll say, too, about the beta, by the way, this is the moment at the end where if you have any questions, please, we'd love to answer them. We have a few minutes left, and so enough time to do that. Also, if you want one of these cards to take home and be able to scan it and get the beta later, just let me know, and I'll give you one. One of the things that people have wondered about Tableau Mobile is, are you guys doing anything with this app? It's sitting there in the store for the better part of a year without much action. Maybe these guys aren't committed to Tableau Mobile. Maybe they're just letting it languish there. But the opposite is true, right? We've been so focused on creating a much better experience. So for us, beta is the beginning. We'll ship this thing in a few months or however long it takes to get it right. And then it's just a train's going to keep on moving. Our team's not disbanding and going to other parts of the company. We're just going to keep making mobile better, and we want to hear from you about how to do that. How do we make this thing the right tool for all the people in your company who are out there somewhere on the road or on a factory floor or traveling for whatever reason? How do we get data into them so that they make the decisions they need to make in the moment that they need to make them? They're not tethered to their desk, and therefore we want to make this great. So thanks a lot for coming. We appreciate it.